Hello, this is Jack from Fluency.com and welcome to this live lesson where we're going to learn English through the news and we're going to focus on the topic of the presidential debate. Now, there is a third and final presidential debate this evening. So what we're going to do is we're going to read this article on the debate that's going to happen tonight where somebody's talking about what they expect to see or things to think about when watching the debate. Now, if you want to learn more about English or English vocabulary related to politics, the election, this topic, then watch the conversation that my wife and I had. It is on our channel. We made this video about 2 weeks ago, so you can find it there. Now, if you're watching live, welcome to you. We're going to have fun today. It's going to be a nice relaxing lesson. Yes, the topic is politics, but we're going to make it fun. And feel free to ask me anything. Now, you can support this channel in a number of ways. Firstly, click like on this video. Click the thumbs up. Then also consider joining as a YouTube member. There should be a join button below the video or a link in the description. And then finally, feel free to send a super chat. Send a super chat over to support the channel. Okay, so right now I'm in the middle of these two guys. We have Donald Trump and we have Joe Biden. So these two are the presidential candidates for the 2020 US election. Less than 2 weeks until the election night. People are voting right now in early voting. So people are already voting. And tonight's going to be the debate. Now, during that conversation, I asked my wife, is the debate a good way to learn English? Or is watching that debate, the first one, a good way to learn English? And she said no. And the reason is because they kept interrupting each other. Now I'm going to leave some phrases in here. Interrupting each other in the live chat. If you're watching the replay, you can see the replay of the live chat. But they kept interrupting each other, and also the moderator, the person in charge of it all, he kept interrupting too. So it was difficult to listen to what they were saying. But as we're going to learn, they have made a change for this evening. So the debate is going to happen at 9 p.m. New York time. If you're in Europe, in Africa, in that part of the world, it might be difficult to watch live. I recommend watching this later, and also be sure to learn the vocabulary from our video first. Okay, what I'm going to do now is just make myself a little bit smaller, move myself over here, just in front of Donald, and then go to this story. So they're calling this here in NBC News the final showdown. 5 things to watch in last Trump-Biden debate. It says the mics may be cut, but the gloves will be off when the candidates meet Thursday in Nashville, Tennessee. So they're in Nashville. It's about 4 hours away from where I live. But a couple of things here, a couple of words and phrases. I'll just change this around a little bit so you can see a bit better. That should be perfect. First thing, the mics may be cut. Okay, so to cut somebody's mic means to turn off the volume, to turn off the power to the mic. So what they're doing tonight is when they're given the 2 minutes to talk, the other person, their mic will be turned off. Their mic will be cut. So that's what that means. It says the mics may be cut off, but the gloves will be off. The gloves will be off. This is a phrase, an idiom to say they are not going to hold anything back. They're not going to be nice to each other. They're going to be really strong and they're going to both attack each other because it's the last debate. This is the last debate before the election. Okay. So feel free to ask some questions as well as we go through this. If you send a super chat, I'll answer the question as soon as I see it. Let's learn some more English. Okay, so any Americans still on the fence and who haven't been among the hordes of early voters will have one final chance to hear from President Donald Trump and Joe Biden in their last debate Thursday, during which the president will try to re-energize his base and close the polling gap behind Biden. So, to be on the fence, this means to be undecided. To be on the fence, to not have an opinion about something. So you can use it, people use this a lot in sports as well. They'll say, I'm going to sit on the fence and say, I don't know who is going to win the game. I'm going to sit on the fence and say, I don't know who is going to win the game. To still be on the fence, to be undecided. Okay. Now, oh, there's a big bug here. So to sit on the fence. Now, the next bit, who haven't been among the hordes of early voters. The hordes, just big crowds of early voters. So a lot of people have been voting early. A lot of people have been voting early. The next one is to re-energize, which just means like to give a boost. They're trying to suggest that Trump's fans or Trump supporters aren't energetic this year. They're not behind the president, but he's trying to re-energize the base and close the polling gap behind Biden. Close the gap. So what they're saying at the moment is Biden is leading in the polls, and what Donald Trump wants to do is to close that gap. So to make that gap smaller, and then hopefully for Trump to overtake. Okay. Hopefully this is making sense so far. This is a great article to read. I'll leave a link to this as well for you later, but we're learning lots of idioms and phrases and expressions here. Can you see this bug? I don't think you can. This is called a stink bug. It's right here. You can just see it maybe now. Maybe not. But apparently they don't smell very nice. And they look scary, but they're not really that scary. But anyway, there is a stink bug here. So we're saying it's similar in Portuguese to be on the fence. Yeah, to sit on the fence. To sit on the fence. All right, let's go to point one. Point one is a new tone for Trump. A new tone for Trump. It says here, sitting presidents often fumble the first debate of their re-election. After 4 years in the White House, they're not used to being challenged. Great phrase here. They're not used to being challenged. And it says here, both Bush and Obama did poorly in their first debates and then found their footing in the second debates. Republican strategist Alex Conant said, the next debate is just crucial for Trump if he's going to turn this around. Okay, some good phrases here again. This is such a great article. Firstly, fumble the first debate. Fumble the first debate. This just means to not do well in the first debate, to not be able to give a good performance. And then they're not used to being challenged. They're not used to being challenged. Now, I'm going to make a video soon on how to use being, and there's a great example. They're not used to being challenged. So they're not accustomed to being challenged. They haven't been challenged in their debates before. So when Trump was in the last debate, he could just be all on the attack to talk about what Hillary is doing. But now he has been president, people challenged the president on what they have done over the last 4 years. So saying things like, you made a mistake here. You're terrible with this. You're not good with this. What did you do here? And it's more difficult for the president in that first debate. Okay. Now, Polls showed voters thought Biden won the Cleveland clash, the Cleveland debate, which was dominated by Trump's combative tone and frequent interruptions. Okay, combative tone. So the tone is the way you are speaking. If you are speaking in a combative way, in a defensive way, if you are being nice, if you are being strong, that is your tone. And what they're saying is that Trump in the first debate, it was combative, constantly on the attack, on the attack, on the attack, and also frequent interruptions. So he kept interrupting Joe Biden. That's what we talked about before. It says here, some Trump allies are now hoping to see a different approach from him, which they've pitched to the president as giving Biden the room to mess up. To mess up. So to mess up means to make a mistake. So what they're saying is they should let Biden talk, so then he's going to make a mistake, and then Trump can comment on that mistake. Now, Daniel says that's the purpose of the debate, to be challenged. Yeah, I think so. I think for me, it was quite fun in the beginning, but after a while, there were too many interruptions. It was difficult to really follow the debate. There wasn't really a good debate going on because they kept interrupting. But I agree, the purpose of the debate is to be challenged. They said, if you let him talk, he'll lose his train of thought because he's gonzo. And I understand that, Trump said on Fox News on Tuesday. There is a train of thought to that. You know, there are a lot of people that say, let him talk because he loses his train. He loses his train. He loses his mind, frankly. So, this is interesting. To lose your train of thought. This is a common phrase, and it means that when you are talking about something, you're giving an explanation about something, and then sometimes you just don't know what to say next, or you just stumble and you think, what was I saying? What was I saying? To lose your train of thought. So when you're trying to give an answer to a question, sometimes you can start answering that question, but then after a while, it just gets a little bit, what was I saying again? So that is to lose your train of thought. So the idea is that Biden will lose his train of thought if they just let him speak. Working in Trump's favor is expectations for his performance. Is that expectations for his performance could hardly be lower. So even a modicum more restraint, focus, and substance are likely to receive positive reviews. So what they're saying is, because of the first debate, when he was so combative and interrupting, this time expectations, what people expect, they are lower. So if he's just a little bit more focused, a bit more restraint, hopefully that will be more positive for him. So that is point one. Point two, Biden's mission, do no harm. Do no harm. If the polls are right, Biden doesn't have to win the debate. He just has to not lose in an embarrassing way. So the polls are saying that Biden is the favorite right now. More people want to vote for Biden than Trump. That's what the polls are saying. I actually disagree. I don't think they're true of what people actually think. But they're saying that the polls say Biden's going to win. Therefore, all he has to do is to show up and to not mess up, not to embarrass himself. And people think that he might embarrass himself, or a lot of Republicans do. I'm just going to move on a little bit to the last two paragraphs here. Biden's team argues that anything that happens in the 90-minute debate will be quickly overshadowed by the country's daily struggles with the pandemic. There's nothing on the debate stage that's fundamentally going to change the race, a Biden advisor said, speaking on the condition of anonymity. After people turn off their TVs, they're still going to be living in a world defined by Donald Trump's failure on COVID-19. So what we can see here is the opposite argument. So people on the Democratic side, on Joe Biden's side, are saying, look, all Joe Biden has to do is to turn up, put in an okay performance, not mess up big time, because once this finishes, then they're just going to move on to the next thing. So they're not going to worry too much about that, which is an interesting thing. Very interesting. So they're saying the world is defined by Donald Trump's failure on COVID-19. So the debate is, or the whole world is about COVID-19, and the Democratic side blamed Donald Trump for this. Okay. I'm just going to move away from this for a second and just say, the debate is tonight. I'm excited about watching it. I might have to record it because I've been going to bed a little bit earlier recently, and the debate finishes at 10:30 my time. So it's a little bit late for me in a way. So I might record it and watch it in the morning or during my lunch break tomorrow. But I think this one is going to be better for people who are learning English, people like you. It's just going to be a bit more enjoyable, I think. And because they're going to mute the mics or cut the mics, then you can just listen to one person speak for 2 minutes and then listen to the other person speak for 2 minutes. And the vice presidential debate was a good example of this too. Okay, let's just go into the comments a second. Daniel says, don't worry, there are marketing guys behind the candidates. And then we have Ivor saying, hello, Jack, nice to have you here again. I'm waiting for the debate between Trump and Biden. Yeah, in the comment section, let me know if you're going to watch this. Just give a simple yes or no if you're going to watch it. Okay. Now, I'm not going to do number 3 because let's just say my channel is very important. So let's go to number 4. Okay. So the title number 4 says, is this thing on? Is this thing on? They're referring to the mic. When people think, okay, the mic's not working, they say, excuse me, is this on? And it says here, there will be a lot less interruption this time because each candidate's microphone will be cut off during the 2 minutes of time the other candidate is entitled to at the start of each 15-minute segment. The other 10 minutes or so of each segment will be free range. So again, they're not completely turning the mics off, but when they have a new segment and they say, okay, the next segment is the climate. Joe Biden, what do you think about climate change? He has 2 minutes and Donald Trump's microphone will be turned off. Then Donald Trump gets 2 minutes and Joe Biden's microphone will be turned off. So you can use the word turn off, cut off, or mute. Mute the microphone or cut it off. If you watch the first debate, easy to see that those rules were not followed even though they'd agreed to it. Frank Frankenkopf, who co-chairs the Commission on Presidential Debates, said on MSNBC. So all the commission has done is not create a new rule, we didn't touch the rules. All we did was put in a situation where if someone is interrupting, they won't be allowed to interrupt. Which is good. I think that's important. There was too much interrupting and too much noise last time. That doesn't mean, of course, that the other candidate can't talk when they're not supposed to. Just that whatever they say won't be broadcast to viewers at home. Trump lambasted the change, but some Democrats are already threatening the president will hack the new rule by distracting Biden on stage as he speaks. I thought about that. So instead of the audience at home being able to hear the interruptions, you can imagine Biden and Trump both talking while the other one is talking, just to put them off. Okay. It says here to distract. Distract, we can say put off. Distract or put off. Someone's asking what time the debate is, it is 9 o'clock New York time. If you just search for presidential debate UTC time, you'll be able to find out when that is. And it's on so many channels. Everyone can watch this for free. You can probably watch it on YouTube. So it's great that they put that type of content out there. Okay. Aitor is here. It's been a while, Aitor. Aitor used to come to a lot of the live lessons back in the day, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, etc. All right. Point number 5 is peaceful transition. 4 years ago, down in the polls in his final debate with Hillary Clinton, Trump stunned observers by refusing to say if he would accept the results of the election if he lost. I will tell you at the time, I will keep you in suspense, Trump said. Clinton shot back, that's horrifying. That is not the way our democracy works. Those concerns became moot, after Trump won. But he's now making similar statements, again raising concerns. And this time he's the incumbent with all the powers that come with office. And Trump's been reluctant to denounce white supremacists and far-right extremist groups who say they're spoiling for a fight in the event of a disputed election. Now, I kind of disagree with that last point, but what's interesting here is that there is this talk about a disputed election, and both sides seem to be saying this right now. Let's just look at some vocabulary, okay? Down in the polls. So to be down in the polls means you're losing the polls. You're losing at this stage. And they're saying 4 years ago, down in the polls in his final debate with Hillary Clinton. Now, what's interesting is Trump was down in the polls 4 years ago, but he still won. He's down in the polls this year, but he might still win. The next thing I want to say is those concerns became mute after Trump won. Okay. That just means those concerns were irrelevant because Trump won. So he obviously accepted the election results because he won. He wasn't going to dispute or argue against the election results because he's won. So that's another debate topic for tonight, or something that they are going to debate tonight. So there's quite a lot here going on. Lots of different vocabulary items that we have talked about today. I think this one will be a good debate to watch. Now, what's interesting is also the accents, because Donald Trump is from New York City, and so he has a New York accent. It's not too strong, but you do hear it sometimes. Like he says things like dog, 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 or sometimes you hear it a little bit like that. I don't know where Joe Biden is from, and he seems to just have more of a generic American accent. It doesn't seem very regional or strong specifically. Both of them aren't perfect public speakers. So a really good example of a public speaker is Barack Obama, who just seemed to have this confidence, and he was a great speaker. But Donald Trump and Joe Biden, they don't have the public speaking skills to the same degree. They use, like we just saw an example of this with Donald Trump, where he repeats himself a lot. He says things like, oh, yes, Armando Fernandez just said huge, and he says huge, huge, China instead of China. There are certain sounds that he uses, but neither of them can really give a good public speech. Maybe Joe Biden is a little bit better, but at the same time, some people like that Donald Trump is a little bit more off the cuff, a little bit more, not a polished politician. Okay, let's go to some of the comments. Love the way you pronounce cut, getting away from the cut. Cheers from Argentina. Yeah, so where I'm from, we say cut instead of cut. I hope this time the debate won't be under the waistline or below the belt. That's what you want. This is a below the belt. This is a phrase that comes from boxing. Below the belt is when you punch somebody in an area that really hurts. So to be below the belt means to do things that just aren't by the rules, to be too aggressive and too strong, maybe to criticize somebody in a personal way. Joe Biden is from, Scranton, Pennsylvania, which is where the Office US version was filmed. The strategies against COVID are a moot topic in some countries. Yeah, it's a good example. Let's see, love the way, we did that one. I'm working hard at Thomas Reuters. I'm using my English a lot. Good to have you here. Who do you support? I'm not going to tell you who I'm going to vote for. I don't like to talk about my political leanings. Wahida says, I've never been interested in football, neither politics, but with you, these fields become interesting. Thank you, Jack. That's great to know. Yeah. How do you pronounce neither? Neither or neither? You can do both. Neither candidate, neither candidate. You'll hear both there. But no, I'm excited. I am excited about it. I find these debates quite interesting. Sometimes quite entertaining. I just want something funny to happen. I want it to be good, but I also want them to be, to get their arguments across. I'll do this, okay? Get their arguments across. Which just means to be able to explain their positions, explain what they think, explain their answers, explain their policies in a way where it's useful for people. But I also like the entertainment factor. And like I said, the first debate was quite entertaining for the first 10 minutes, quite funny. And then after that, it just got a little bit too much. Biden and Michael Scott, that's a sight to behold. Yeah, both from Scranton, Pennsylvania. Oh, The Office was such a good show. I loved the British version. It's one of my favorite shows of all time, but I also like the American version too. I thought it was really good. So some things to think about when watching the debate tonight. Okay, and if you are English as a second language student, what I recommend doing is looking up the topics for the debate, so then you can have an idea about what they're going to talk about. Read the news as well today before you watch the debate, because they're going to probably talk about the emails, which I'm not going to go into depth here because I don't think YouTube likes this, but emails that came out from the Biden family. They're going to talk about coronavirus, I'm sure, again. They're probably going to talk about race relations. They're not talking about foreign policy, which is interesting. But yeah, it's going to be good. I think it's going to be a lot better tonight. There's still going to be lots of interruptions, which makes it more difficult to follow along, but it's going to be a lot better. All right, let's do a few minutes of questions and answers, and then I'm going to get going. Daniel says the voting is secret. Yeah, you can vote. No one knows who you vote for, which is really important. In Brazil, we're watching the debates of mayor candidates. Very interesting. So there's that going on. I want to ask a question about how I improve listening. I have a video. If you go to my channel and go to most watched videos or sort them by most viewed, the third one is a video on secrets to English listening. And if you just put English listening to fluency secrets into YouTube, you'll find it. You'll find that video. And watch that instead of me trying to explain it now, because that video is really good. Let's see. To Fluency member, we will talk to you directly. I mean, have a conversation with you. No. So there's a YouTube membership where you can join and get access to videos that come earlier, and it's a way for you to support the channel too. There's a join button, and also there's a link in the description for you to join. Somebody says new office or nice office? Yeah, nice office. Thank you. Yeah, I like this place. It's very good. And the internet is super fast. It makes all the difference when you're giving a live lesson. It makes all the difference. I've just recorded a couple of videos today, or one video, sorry, and it's on how to get more speaking practice. And I'm also going to do one on how to use the word being. Being. I used an example before, used to being. I'm not used to being in a different country. He's not used to being here. I'm not used to being first, etc. Off topic, but what kind of lamp do you use to get that effect? It's a normal light, but then it's got like a gel on top with the blue colour, and I put it behind myself so it gives that funky light behind it. Hi, for what is the problem when you don't understand British accent? Just get more listening practice. Get more listening practice. Listen to lots of British stuff. Yeah. Great to have this debate in my country and choose the right president. It's so exciting, but unfortunately we don't have this. I live in Ukraine. Can I speak like a native English speaker and how to achieve it? Yeah, so with that, get lots of practice. Watch the videos I have on how to improve your speaking. My videos and lessons talk about how you can learn English on your own from anywhere in the world. That's what I like to focus on. So go to my channel homepage and watch the featured video because I talk about that there. Okay. All right. I'm going to end it there. So like I said before, like this video, share this video. It really does help the channel out a lot. And go watch the conversation my wife and I had on this debate because it's really going to help you. There's a lot you can learn there where you can just learn the words and phrases that they're going to use tonight. Learn things about electoral colleges, polls, leads, etc. It's just going to make a big difference to watching the debate later this evening. And yeah, if you watch it, leave a comment later and let me know what you think about it. Okay? All right then. I will speak to you all soon. Thank you so much for being here.